In the 80s and 90s, a digital war was being fought in the shadows. It wasn't for money or power, it was for the ultimate bragging rights. Behind every pirated game you played on your Commodore 64 or Amiga was a clandestine group of teenagers and young adults risking jail time to be the absolute first to crack a release. Groups like Razer 1911, Fairlight and Paradox became legends, operating with the efficiency of a corporate machine while evading international law enforcement. Today we're going deeper into the scene than ever before, exploring the secret order, the technical nightmares that nearly broke the world's best coders, and the police raids that brought the golden age to a crashing halt. The scene wasn't just a bunch of random kids, it was a strictly organized hierarchy often referred to as the pyramid.
The suppliers.
These were the infiltrators. Some worked at software warehouses or retail shops. In Sweden, a member of Fairlight even bribed a train conductor to ensure original Commodore 64 games reached their crackers as quickly as possible.
The crackers.
The technical wizards. People like Pontus Berg of Fairlight or Antonio Mazzanti, also known as Randall Flagg, would spend their waking hours staring at machine code monitors to dismantle copy protection.
The organizers.
They managed the groups and shielded crackers from external interference so they could work in peace.
The couriers.
Once a game was cracked, these members distributed it across global bulletin board systems, also known as BBSs. The ultimate goal? To be first. The timestamp of an upload to a group's main BBS determined who won the race for that specific title. For the group The Humble Guys, this meant not just releasing the game, but pioneering the NFO file, a text document that became the industry standard for release notes and group news. Most cracks took about 8 hours, but the hard nuts could take months or even years. Take Pontus Berg of Fairlight. The protection was so complex, he spent 11 months cracking Alternate Reality: The Dungeon on the Commodore 64. The community actually had to come together to write a complete strategy guide for it, which was actually better than the documentation that came in the original box. Then there was Antonio Mazzanti, known as Randall Flagg in the scene. He specialized in LucasArts games, a daunting task because they were notoriously difficult. He spent a full year on Maniac Mansion. But his biggest achievement? Day of the Tentacle. LucasArts had modified their Scum engine so drastically that Antonio had to forget everything he knew and start from scratch. He eventually cracked the case after another group tried to fake a release with a broken version. Developers weren't making it easy. Some games had protections that didn't just stop you from playing, they trolled you.
I play 3D soccer.
This Italian title had protection in the starting menu. If you bypassed it incorrectly, the game would seem fine, but every match you played would be mathematically unwinnable. The Amiga version had a hidden second check. If failed, a key item required to progress would simply disappear from the game world.
Dungeon Master.
Perhaps the most legendary for its fuzzy bits. These were disk sectors that changed every time they were read. If the game didn't detect this change, it blocked you from entering the dungeon. It even hid anti-piracy code inside graphics files as images. Even physical hardware was used. Robocop 3 required an expensive dongle to be plugged into the second joystick port. Crackers beat it quickly, but it made legitimate customers pay more just to support the protection system. For years, European governments largely ignored the scene, but by the 1990s, the law caught up.
Operation Fastlink.
A massive US government operation was launched specifically to take down Fairlight. Sector 9, a founder of Razer 1911, only avoided a police raid in 1993 because he had moved house 10 days earlier. He never worked in the scene full-time again. The secret copy parties invite-only gatherings where groups compete in person, eventually evolved to law-abiding mega events like Assembly and The Gathering, where thousands of people now attend annually. Why did they do it? Sector 9 says it was never for money, but for the knowledge to be part of something. Antonio Mazzanti describes it as a battle of egos where information was kept secret, even between team members. Today the scene has changed. Groups like Paradox are still around. They were the first to crack the modern Denuvo protection in 2020. But the era of the shy programmer risking everything for a signature on a loading screen is a fantastic world that Antonio says will never be again. If you want to see more about the history of digital subcultures, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments what was the first crack throw you ever saw. If you've enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you all in my next video. Cheers!